You worked on yourself. You became calmer, more disciplined, more aware. So why does it feel quieter inside? Not peaceful, just empty. Like you upgraded your life but misplaced something human along the way. This isn't failure. It's a psychological shift most people never notice. You start noticing it slowly. You react less. You need less validation. You outgrow habits that once defined you. From the outside, everything looks healthier, but internally, something feels missing, like your emotions are dimmed, like meaning used to live where improvement now sits. You might think, was I more alive before I changed? This experience often appears after intense self-improvement, therapy, or identity change. Psychology calls this identity restructuring. Your brain built a version of you to survive your past. When that version dissolves, the system pauses before building the next one. And during that pause, you don't feel lost, you feel hollow. Not because growth removed meaning, but because meaning was attached to who you used to be. Many people assume improvement should feel like expansion, but often it feels like subtraction first. You didn't just change behavior, you changed the story your brain used to organize reality. And the mind does not like unfinished stories. You are not becoming empty, you are becoming unstructured. There is a difference. The brain is a prediction machine. It constantly asks, who am I in this situation? When that answer disappears, emotional signals weaken. Imagine renovating a house while living inside it. Walls are removed before new rooms exist. For a while, space expands, but comfort drops. Your mind is in that renovation phase. What you feel is not absence of self, it is the gap between identities. And psychologically, gaps feel like voids. This is why growth can feel less alive than struggle. Struggle provided structure. It gave your brain a clear role to play. Improvement removes the old script before the new one feels real. To understand this, picture your identity as a control panel in the brain. Each button represents a familiar role: the achiever, the people pleaser, the survivor, the rebel. These roles are not just beliefs, they are neural pathways reinforced by repetition. When you improve yourself, you stop pressing certain buttons. At first, this seems positive, but the brain interprets unused pathways as uncertainty. Neuroscience shows that prediction reduces anxiety. The brain prefers a painful pattern over an unknown state. So when old identity patterns deactivate, emotional intensity drops temporarily. Not because life is meaningless, but because prediction is offline. Another process is involved: dopamine recalibration. Dopamine is not pleasure, it is anticipation. If your old identity relied on conflict, approval, or urgency, your reward system was tuned to those signals. When you remove them, the brain experiences a reward vacuum. Like lowering background noise after years of static. Silence can feel unsettling, even when it's healthier. There is also something deeper: self-discrepancy theory. Your brain holds three versions of you: who you were, who you think you should be, and who you are becoming. When these versions don't align, emotional coherence drops. You feel psychologically thin, like a character without a script. This is not emptiness, it is identity bandwidth resetting. Instead of trying to feel more, you stabilize the transition. Here are 4 psychologically grounded principles. Principle 1. Replace identity before removing it. Behavioral psychology shows habits survive when they attach to identity. If you remove an old trait without defining a new role, the brain registers loss, not growth. Mental model. You are not deleting a character, you are rewriting one. Ask, if I'm no longer who I was, who acts in my place? Not a perfect version, a functional one. For example, not I stopped people-pleasing, but I became someone who negotiates boundaries. The brain needs a role to simulate. Principle 2. Expect emotional lag. Cognitive science distinguishes between behavior change and emotional integration. Behavior changes fast, identity integrates slowly. This delay is called psychological consolidation. Think of it like muscles adapting after exercise. Growth happens during recovery, not effort. Your nervous system needs repeated safe experiences in the new identity before emotions attach to it. So the emptiness is not a signal to reverse growth. It is a waiting period for emotional alignment. Principle 3. Build meaning through action, not insight. Insight feels powerful, but the brain encodes identity through action. Research in self-perception theory shows we infer who we are by observing what we do. Meaning emerges when behavior repeats in context, not from thinking about who you are, but from seeing yourself act as someone new. So instead of asking, "Why do I feel empty?" try, "What behavior would make this identity observable today?" The brain trusts evidence more than intention. Principle 4. Normalize low-stimulation living. If your past identity relied on intensity, calmness will feel like absence. But emotionally stable states are neurologically quieter. Your nervous system is not numb, it is regulated. Regulation reduces dramatic signals, which can feel like loss if chaos wants to find aliveness. The brain must learn a new definition of alive, not heightened reaction, but sustained presence. This shift is not emotional reduction, it is signal refinement. All of this can be understood through one simple mental model. Identity is a bridge, not a destination. You are always crossing from one version of self to another. But during the crossing, you are not standing on solid ground. You are between structures. Emptiness is the sensation of being mid-bridge, not who you were, not fully who you are becoming. Psychologically, this is a liminal state, a transition phase where old neural maps dissolve before new ones stabilize. Most people interpret this state as failure, but in developmental psychology, it's a marker of transformation. You feel less defined because definition is updating. Your brain is not asking, "Why is nothing meaningful?" It is asking, "What new pattern should organize experience now?" And that question cannot be answered instantly. It must be lived. If improvement made you feel emptier, it did not remove your identity. It loosened it. You are not losing yourself. You are experiencing the space where a self can be chosen. That space is quiet, sometimes unsettling, but psychologically it is fertile. The mind becomes most creative when old predictions stop dominating perception. So if life feels less intense, less reactive, less certain, you are not fading, you are reorganizing. And meaning does not disappear during growth, it waits for coherence. Stay present in the transition. Let experience accumulate. Let the nervous system learn safety without urgency. Eventually, the bridge will feel like ground again. Not because you forced identity, but because you lived long enough inside the new one for it to feel real. And when that happens, the emptiness you feared will be recognized for what it was. Not a void, but space.